Metroidvania, a genre of game that mixes platforming, bullet hell, and story-gated exploration, aka massive sprawling maps you'll find yourself backtracking through, wishing you were never born. No, seriously, what the f is this? Arguably, there have always been a few major problems with the genre. The first is this bullshit, and then this bullshit, which can scare off casual players. But for me, every time I try to play the games it's named for, Metroid and Castlevania, I realize there is so much established story I don't know that I'm left like, Mother Brain what? Heinrich who?
Psycho Mantis.
That's why I think Hollow Knight is so good. Sure, the map still looks like this, and the bosses can look like this, but at least I didn't need 30 games worth of story to understand this little guy is out for blood. So when I saw my favorite publisher, Devolver Digital, was doing a Metroidvania, I was like,
oh shit. Here we go again.
Gunbrella approaches the genre on a much smaller scale, focusing on a more linear progression, trying to cut out the backtracking. The characters come to you to move the story along. Boss rooms loop back to the start of a zone, making the map smaller, tighter, and easier to navigate. All of this, though, comes at a cost. I love to explore. I will not move on from a zone unless I feel I have done everything in it. This meant I played over 200 hours in the first act of Red Dead 2. I played 60 hours of Pokemon Arceus in the first zone, and I have never passed first base. So when I get a game like Gunbrella, which seems to reward your exploring with chests early on, you know I'm going to try explore every single path. Except what often looked like a side path turned out to be a dead end. I found myself feeling punished for exploring as the game went on, which arguably felt worse than simply getting lost like an idiot. Thankfully, there's plenty the game does right. The story is short, simple, and doesn't try to get flashy. Opening on a dark night, our character finds his home ablaze, his wife dead, and a strange weapon. That's all he needs to set off on revenge. And let me tell you, the revenge is pretty fun. Give me a game where I can go BAP! And the guy's dead. I'm in, you've got me. But then give me a game where I can go bap, whap, whap, and I'll be here all day. Gunbrella combines classic Metroidvania platforming with dashes, wall hopping, gliding, shotgun hopping, bullet reflection, and dozens of different ammo types. The game has schmovement. Normally in a game with combat this fun, I'm just spamming through dialogue, wanting to get back to it. But the real reason I played this entire game in one sitting, not once, but twice, was because of this. Comedy is all about timing, and time is a one-way road. Well, I'm your only audience. I'm sure your jokes are funny repeated. You sure you don't mind practicing with me? Sure, over and over verbatim for eternity? I've honestly got nothing going on. You're such a great guy. When do we start? Let's give it about 30 seconds and then start the routine again. Sounds good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
One eternity later.
28, 29, 30. The world is depressing, it's moody, everyone is just struggling to get by. The music reflects this as you enter town. But then suddenly, is that a clown girl shopkeeper? 1 second you're watching people be eaten by wraiths, murdered by cultists, and kidnapped by the rich upper class. Then you're collecting rats for a guy named Suet because everyone knows Suet cooks the best rat. And because it's so well written, you end up really enjoying the downtime where you're just sat listening to the characters. Doesn't matter how many times you try, I am not opening this gate. Is that my bag of marbles? Okay, here's how this is gonna work. I'm gonna pull this lever and move the gate, and you're gonna come inside and leave the marbles, and then you're gonna turn around and leave. Okay, I am bringing the marbles inside now. Please give me my marbles. Yeah, here you go, man. Have them. Thanks. It dawns on me that even if I flip this lever again and turn this magnet off, the barricade won't just move itself back into the doorway. So, please don't tell anyone that I let you in. Okay, I won't tell anyone.
5 minutes later.
What? How did you get in here? The doorman let me in. I think it was Brad. The doorman? Brad let you in? I'm gonna beat the crap out of him. The game presents a lot of moral questions to you in very subtle ways, and early in the story, I was simply picking whatever seemed the funniest. Something simple like choosing to give a gem to Suet instead of a merchant doesn't feel like it matters at first. But halfway through the game, you learn this isn't just a revenge story. You realize every decision you made in the first half of the game completely changed the world. Characters are dead or refuse to help you, and towns have been destroyed entirely. All because you ratted out Brad and gave a gem to a sewer-dwelling rat cook. The themes and messages about humanity's impact on the planet and each other can come across a bit heavy-handed at first. The bad guys are cartoonishly evil, but because the writing is so funny, it balances out without leaving a bad taste in your mouth. And because the world does such a good job slowly investing you in itself and the characters, well, man, does it hurt when it all falls apart. Bosses can make or break a good Metroidvania, or really any game, and Gunbrella does an amazing job terrifying you with these horrific eldritch creatures. Oh, what the fuck is that? But they quickly become repetitive, boring, and a bit easy. I didn't grind for any upgrades at all, and this is a major boss. If you want to avoid big spoilers, just skip to the next time code, okay? Good? Ready? Okay. 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 This is pretty cool.
5 minutes later.
Okay, still going.
3 days later.
And we're done. For a game with such fun movement, I felt so let down by this. I started dreading the boss fights, and not because of their difficulty or their challenge, but because they felt like a distraction from the game's amazing writing, brilliant world, and fun core combat. At the end of the story, it's time for the final climax. You've overcome every challenge before you, and now you have to fight your way floor by floor through horrors, cultists, and mercenaries to the top of a tower, only to find your daughter cowering in fear from you, hiding behind the man who kidnapped her, killed her mother, who she is now calling dad. The game has built to this moment and this moment alone, and
I kind of feel like if I just sit over here, he can't reach me, like, at all. Yeah, he's... Okay, yeah, he's just over there. Oh, all right, hold on, he's got something.
oh. Wait, was that the final boss? No, it's got way more. That fight was over so fast, and I was waiting for a second phase, but then the credits rolled. I sat in disbelief. I was a bit frustrated, honestly, until I saw my ending. I watched as my daughter grew up in the world that I had left behind. I walked away from Gunbrella frustrated. Originally, I was going to write a review about how a fumbled ending ruined a great game, but days later, I realized I was still thinking about this game. Not in a frustrated way, but about the choices I could make to do better next time, to save more people, to leave behind a better world. So I did it all again. I made better choices, saved more people, and I got the ending I wanted, which made me feel like the ending I got was meant to frustrate me, meant to make me try again. Stepping away and looking at this game as a whole made me appreciate it more than I was expecting from a short indie game. You don't realize as you're playing how much your character is tossing aside everyone and everything in the pursuit of what he wants, completely losing himself in the process. Gunbrella does a lot of things right, but falls short in a lot of ways. It doesn't reinvent the genre, but I feel like it's a game I could recommend to my friends wanting to try out the genre without needing a wiki page and a degree in cartography. 3 out of 5 clown girls.